Hey guys, welcome back to MT Outdoors. Today we're going to be doing one of the craziest European mounts we've ever seen, let alone had the opportunity to do. So stay tuned and let's go check this thing out. So this is the European. Both these bulls were wrapped up in barbed wire when they were fighting and ended up dying just like that. The customer we're doing it for wanted it to be not changed at all. So it's going to be tricky, but we're going to have to boil it just the way they are. Alrighty, we got the first bull boiling. We have to do both of them at a different time. Luckily we have this hoist, so we're able to lift them up and just drop one of them in the water at a time. The first thing we had to do is let these things soak for about a month because they were pretty rotten, they were pretty nasty, everything was really dried on there. So got them soaked and rehydrated, now we're ready to boil them. Alright, we got the one elk situated. What we did is put one full box of this baking soda in there, and then we're going to put a good amount of this Dawn in there. Just like always, it helps clean up some of the grease. And there we are. We're going to sit and wait for, that'll probably take about an hour and a half, and then we'll spray it with the pressure washer and we'll get back to you. Cleaned up pretty good here. There's a few scraps and stuff here on there we're going to have to take off with the second boil. But we're going to repeat the same process on the second bowl. We changed our hoist around and we dropped that one in the pot. And we're going to do the same thing. Wait about an hour and a half and give it another spray down. We're going to now put these elk in the second boil. The only thing that goes in the second boil is just a bunch of Dawn. This was full, so we just put a good amount of Dawn in there. Used our hoist and dropped this elk back down in the water. And same deal, these will be in the water for probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then we'll get back with the pressure washer and clean the rest of it off. Alright, we got pretty much every visible scrap of meat off of this guy. Now we're going to second boil the second bowl here. And just like the last one, we're going to put a bunch of Dawn in it. And then hoist it over. finished up here today. We got all the meat off of both these elk heads. It took probably 8 hours to get the meat off of both of them. So the only thing left to do now is just peroxide them, which is the whitening process. And on these ones we're going to be using paste peroxide. So we're going to take these home and do the pasting tomorrow. Hey guys, it's the next day here. We brought these elk heads home, and like I said earlier in the video, we're going to be using the paste peroxide method to whiten these guys up. And all you need for this step is just this Salon Care 40 volume paste peroxide, and then add on to that just this basic white powder. And what we're going to be doing is just mixing these two together. I like to make it like a pudding consistency. And we're going to slather it all over these elk skulls and let them soak for 24 hours and see how they turn out. We got our paste peroxide made up here. It's a little bit runny, but that's all right. It'll still do the trick. One thing you're gonna want to be sure of is that you have a mat or something to lay down for your skull or skulls, whatever you're working on when using this process, just because it's pretty messy. You don't want to get that stuff all over the place. This paste peroxide method works super good for dead heads or skulls that have been dead for a while. Or if you just have a couple skulls to do, it's a lot cheaper than making up a big batch of liquid peroxide. One thing I forgot to mention earlier in the video before you start pasting the skulls is you're going to want to use some cling wrap or saran wrap. I always use that with electrical tape to wrap up the exposed antler, because if the paste does get on the antler, it'll bleach it. So that's what I did, best I could. Obviously in my situation I have quite a bit going on with the barbed wire and antler. So I did my best, and I'm just going to have to be careful with the peroxide. So let's get to it. So we got the peroxide all caked on the elk skull. The point is to try to get as much of the skull covered with the peroxide as possible. In my situation here, it's pretty tough just because I can't really maneuver around the skull and get the bottom of the skull as much as I wish I could. But I did my best, and now we're going to be moving on to the next step. We got both skulls caked in peroxide, and it's a saran wrap all over both of them. The reason we use the saran wrap is to keep the peroxide on the skull active, because what we're going to be doing is using a little heater like that guy. I got two of them, one for each skull. The peroxide, when it gets heat activated, it foams up, and with the saran wrap on there, instead of rising, it expands out to the side, and it helps reach every little nook and cranny we might have missed with the brush. So we're going to be putting them in front of the heaters for 24 hours. I actually do that with deer or elk skulls, whether they're deadheads or the fresh ones. Just gives it enough time for that peroxide to be active and do its job. So that's it for the day. Got everything taken care of for the peroxide process. I'm going to check in with you guys in about 24 hours. I'm going to be constantly checking in on them every time I get the chance. Make sure everything's going all right, make sure the heaters are working, doing their job. So stay tuned, we'll be back with you. Alright, we've waited 24 hours. We just got the saran wrap taken off of these bowls. The only thing now is just to spray them off, and we're going to cut the tape off and let them sit and dry out, and hopefully they whiten up. we got the skulls all cleaned up, got the peroxide off of them and all the saran wrap off. The only thing we have to do now is just let them dry. Drying them out usually only takes 1 to 2 days, and they'll hopefully whiten up a little bit as that peroxide soaks back into the bone. It was a super cool project. Super fortunate to be able to work on it. It's definitely a once in a lifetime find for the customer that brought it into us. So if you like our content, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll keep posting. Stay tuned for next time.